Hey guys, welcome back to the Paladins Alliance. I'm so glad to be back and here to talk about the IEM Cologne play-ins that are going to happen in a day now. And while the opening rounds are pretty easy to predict, in my opinion, I'd like to still go over them and talk about some win conditions that the lower tier teams might be able to upset in these best of one rounds. So I wanted to start off from the top. We'll start with NIP versus Ldlc. And I have to say that there is an opportunity for an upset here because one, it is best of one. The other thing is that NIP is now debuting their roster on LAN. Device is now returning. LNZ's debut as well. And actually, Hampus hasn't been on a LAN with them just yet, although they have had a LAN studio back at home. Um, Ldlc has the return of Sixer, which is great. Sixer and Haji have now returned back to Tier 1 Counter-Strike, and we'll now finally have a debut of Maka in the Tier 1 space along with Lambert, who's also been known for doing a lot of good things in the Tier 2 scene and hyped up a lot by the French scene themselves, the domestic region. So I want to take a look at the maps. The maps suggest that this will turn up in those three maps that a lot of people enjoy to play: Dust 2, Mirage, or Inferno. I think the thing is if it really does go to Dust 2, although they have been playing lower tier teams, there's still an opportunity for somebody like Maka to really break into NIP. And the issue is I think the team play for Ldlc is there, but the firepower is by far way better on NIP. So if somebody like Maka, who I did actually do an article on the Gamehouse site, I think he could really make a name for himself at this tournament and maybe qualify for the main event if they get this upset against NIP. But if it does end up going to a map like Nuke or maybe even Ancient, that's where I think things start to get a little dicey and NIP's strategy will just take over. So I want to look at Bad News Bears versus Mouse Sports next. This will be a little bit shorter. I don't think there's much that the Bears can do in this situation, although they do have some international experience. John G, PTR, Sheikh Zula as well, to some extent. They've all experienced a little bit of international play, but I do think that none of them have actually played in a LAN setting. Like as a team, they have all individually played on LANs as their respective players, but only really John G and PTR have had that experience on LAN, international LANs. And I don't think that they have the map pool to suggest that they could find them upset against Mouse Sports, and I don't think that they have enough firepower as well. That's a key issue, I think. Um, if they had a pocket pick that they could pull on Mouse Sports, it'd be possible. But the issue is Rops and Frozen are just on another level right now. Acor's heating up, Dexter's on the way, and I really think that regardless of the map, even if it goes to something like Dust 2, Mouse Sports should very easily take this. And I'm expecting them to actually qualify over NIP first in their upper bracket right here. As far as Spirit and MIBR go, I think Spirit is like a tad bit shaky. They had a pretty good CIS RMR at Star Ladder, and the main issue I think is that they have shown some hiccups on international lands in most recent. I think DreamHack Masters is where they had a little bit of issues, but I think that they're very capable at this tournament, and I'm sure they'll qualify for the main thing. The thing is if there was a little bit better of an opponent here, I think that they could get the upset. But MIBR has really been on the downturn in Europe. You see the results that they've put out. They've lost to Ago, they've lost to Lingby Vikings, they've lost to Iberian Family. These are very low tier teams, and although they did really well at their South American RMR, I really don't think it's possible unless something crazy happens. Like Bolts and Yell, they just tear up the scene. Cello shows a great game. It's possible, but it's very unlikely. I think of all the upsets that could potentially happen, I think this is one of the lowest ones, along with Bad News Bears. The issue is those more firepower heavy maps that where they can try to flex their muscles. Those are also really good spirit maps. Like you can see here, Dust 2 is a very good map for them. But The only glimmer of hope is MIBR is very scrappy on Mirage, and they could like maybe a 10% chance that they could upset on Mirage. But again, Spirit has shown competence even against teams like Navi. I think it's really out of the question whether MIBR can qualify here. Renegades versus Vitality. I also wrote about INS in my article, and I think INS has drastically changed the complexion of this team. They've really done well in recent, and they just qualified for ESL Pro League actually over Order, their domestic rivals. But the thing is they have been really struggling on international stages, and again we have only online to go off of, and I think the Renegades have done great in Australia, but they've really struggled internationally. Whereas Vitality, they love LAN. Before LAN actually went away, they were one of the best teams in the world, and I think Zaiwu can't be denied. Zaiwu is going to return to his hunting grounds on the LAN stage, and I feel like veterans like Shox and Apex, for that matter, are really going to strike fear into the Renegades lineup, who are all debuting in Cologne. Like Alistair is still pretty new, Inns is still pretty new, Sicko for that matter is still pretty new, and I think unless on the outside chance that Inns actually tears up and says like, okay, well we're gonna play it like it's straight from like we're in Australia, that's where things can start to get a little bit more spicy. So I'm thinking the map that's probably going to be played here is Inferno. I think Vitality will take out Mirage. Renegades will take out Ancient. And I don't think that they'll take it to Dust 2. I think obviously the Zywoo effect is still in their minds. But yeah, I think Renegades have a good Inferno. They're pretty intelligent on that map, and I think Vitality is also willing to play that map because they feel very comfortable on it as well. If not, I think that something like Vertigo might also be on the cards. And again, I think Vitality has a very good Vertigo, and players like Masuta and Kyojin have been looking really sharp on that map. So unless it goes to one of those three heavy hitters for upsets to happen, Dust 2, Mirage, and Inferno, I don't think it's very easy for Renegades to win this one. So OG and Team 1. OG has been something of a revelation in the recent times. They'd had a really great IEM summer. I really liked what they showed. Flamesy was great. Valdez returning to form. Mantu and LXAB had some great rounds. I think LXAB's calling has just stepped up monumentally, and I think they're really elevating their game, and we saw it clearly at IEM Summer. I think that they should be the clear favorites here. The issue is for Team 1 is that the way they qualified for ESL Pro League over Extra Salt was very one-offish. I know Maui Snake talked about it a little bit on Snake and Banter, but a lot of it came down to how they were winning so many 4v5s and Pesadillo having an insane game and an insane tournament in the playoffs of ESEA Premier. So I think if that third star can be unlocked, they have a chance. They definitely have a chance. But again, in these best of ones formats, the maps really don't favor them. The thing is that a lot of these teams don't really have that deep of a map pool, and Team 1 has the same situation here, where you could possibly pocket pick and punish Vertigo or Ancient. OG also doesn't play those maps, and it's a best of one. They can ban both of them out. They can float both of them if they want to. It's a little bit of a dark horse situation where OG really doesn't have much of a shot at winning this. Doesn't have much of a shot at losing this game. Sorry, my bad. But I think Team 1 has an outside chance if they fire on all cylinders. Then props to them. Their team chemistry is very good. But OG I think is better in every regard: maps, players, and strategy. I don't think it's really possible for Team 1 to win this. So here's one that I think that could be a little interesting. So domestic rivals, those matches can be a little dicey. I think Sprout versus Big could be something that actually turns on its head. There is potential for an upset here. One thing is for sure, it is back to LAN, and Slacks and Favin haven't really played on that LAN stage. They're not really known. Even Cressy hasn't as well, and so this could be a key factor for the team, and could be capitalized by Big. But at the same time, Big hasn't been doing very well. They didn't qualify for ESEA Premier. They got eliminated by Sinners, Oscar Sinners, and I think they were eliminated by another team. Yeah, they lost to Ldlc. Yeah, in their lower bracket, they lost to Ldlc, and they couldn't even win. They lost to Skade here. They couldn't beat the Bulgarian roster of Skade, and I think that stuff like this is really really rattling the roster. And then the rumors swirling around on Zantares leaving to join hands with Woxic is also something that could be happening, and I'm sure that the whole German rivalry in Cologne is going to be a big deal. There is potential with the amount of intangibles that are swirling around the squad for Sprout to win this game. Now, as far as maps go, it'll probably go to Dust 2. Let's be real. Uh, Big loves their Dust 2. They'll be totally willing to play it. Sprout really loves their Dust 2. Favin and Slacks love to have a field day on this map. I think this is going to be a very close game. I think this has all the writings on the wall for it to maybe go 30 rounds, or for it to just be a blowout for Sprout. I think it's very, very possible, just because it is a domestic rival matchup. So here's where I think most people are most excited for. EG FaZe. Out the gate, they've both been struggling, let's be real. EG has shown more promise over FaZe, but FaZe have the better pieces. So the question is how do they transition when they come back to LAN? Is it going to be all guns blazing? EG FaZe are going to both be the front runners for qualifying on their side of the bracket, or is it going to be FaZe or EG just both falling by the wayside and it's just a repeat of what was happening online? That is the question. Personally, I think that this map is also going to be played on Inferno. EG has been willing to play a lot of Inferno. FaZe have loved playing Inferno. I think obviously Mirage is going to be out of the pool. Vertigo, Ancient, those are all going to be permabanned. EG has struggled on Nuke, although they have picked it a couple times, so it could go there. But I think FaZe is way more equipped, so they'd probably take that away. FaZe would probably eliminate Dust 2. They wouldn't want that volatility, and EG does love to play that map. And now you're down to Overpass and Inferno, and I think FaZe would rather much play Inferno over Overpass. So I think it's going to go to Inferno, and I think what it really comes down to is how Twist is going to debut on LAN. Is he going to show back that liquid form that he had during their Grand Slam run, or is he going to continue to play like how he did at the latter half of his tenure against Liquid? My guess is the way Kerrigan is setting him up, there's more opportunity for him to really shine on this FaZe roster, and I think they're really going to break out at Cologne. Honestly, in my opinion, I think that they're going to qualify over Complexity. It's a little bit of a risky pick, but that's my suggestion for any predictions that you might have. I think that FaZe is going to upset EG here. It's going to be a close affair on Inferno. We might go into OT here. I think we might have a return form from Breeze. Obo has a great time on LAN. He's already proven himself. Mihu has shown really good signs. I think EG definitely has a chance. This is definitely going to be a 50-50 game. I can guarantee you that. But I think that intangibles favor FaZe here. They have the more experience. They have the more tenure. You have Kerrigan back at home on LAN. You have Rain and Olaf as a consistent veteran leadership, and you have Brokey and Twist to just light up the scoreboard in the near future. So last team I want to go to has to be Complexity versus Vichy, and on paper, Complexity has to win this. There is no way that Vichy will win this game. Complexity had an outstanding debut on the Blast stage, and we all know about the crazy story that they had against the Group of Death, against Navi, Vitality, and Astralis. But again, these waters of best of ones can be a little scary, and I think that a lot of stuff is in the air with these plans, and it looks way more deceptive than it actually is. Or sorry, I should say, it looks more obvious than it might seem of the results. But I really think that there is a possibility that Kaze can return to his IEM Katowice 2019 form and really surprise here. While they might not be Complexity here, they have the best shot that they have is in this best of one to really get that next round of play that they can elevate themselves in to qualify. Because after that you have to win one best of three, and that'll be a little bit more difficult. but they do have a little bit more of a deeper map pool than other Asian teams, so I think that they have a possibility. Jamhyung has been really nice. I've watched some of his games. He looks really great. And again, Kaze is a veteran opper who's shown promise on international stage. He actually eliminated North to qualify for the major last 2 years ago, and I think he has the capability to help this team. Sincerely. Zoking has also been on the land stage. An Advent has been on Vichy for so long. I think that the land jitters might not affect them as much as the other underdogs, but I certainly think it really comes down to Kaze and Jamyoung to really harness what they've showed in Asia and show it in the international stage. And I know that they have the capability to do so. Um, as far as complexity go, it's quite obvious what their win conditions are. Config is going to go nuclear. We can get. I can almost guarantee you that Config is gonna play very well at this tournament. I think they're going to have a very very great play in here. I think Poison is going to return to his normal form. Bullymef is someone that's really consistent, and the X factor really remains is JKS going to show back his form that he did way back when under the Renegades. He hasn't really showed it on 100 Thieves that much, and now is really the time for him to put the money where his mouth is and really just perform on this stage. It's really now or never for JKS to really prove himself. So those are all the play-in teams. I really think that in the upper bracket, Mouse Sports should take that NIP matchup. If all the predictions go through, I think Spirit should qualify here. I think OG will qualify here, and I think actually this one will probably be a 50-50. I'm assuming it's going to be phase complexity, and with how even their map pools are, it's going to be a very very close affair. This side of the bracket is one that you should definitely keep your eyes out on. Yeah, you should definitely keep your eyes out on this side of the bracket. You never know what's going to happen. And yeah, that just about does it for the the play-in predictions. I hope you'll continue to subscribe to my content and watch more IEM Cologne stuff down the pipeline. I wrote a preview for ESL. I'll link that down in the description box below. I did one with the Game House as well about talking about some underdogs. Went over Maka, Ins. Who else? I went over Kaze from Vichy Gaming, and then I went over Pesadello on Team 1. So go check that article out, those two articles out before the plans tomorrow. And yeah, keep subscribe to my content, follow my Twitter at DatPaladin, and I will see you guys in the near future for some more Cologne content. Peace.